Welcome to Cashed Out, where we dive into some of the most notorious robberies of financial institutions in history. I'm your host, Michael Dwyer, and today we'll explore one of the most audacious bank robberies ever committed, the Banco Centro Heist in Brazil. This remarkable story features meticulous planning, a daring escape, and a massive haul that still leaves many questions unanswered. So sit back, relax, and let's unravel the mystery behind this infamous crime. It was the early hours of August 6, 2005, in the city of Fortaleza, Brazil. The Banco Central branch was preparing for a normal day of operations, but little did they know that they were about to be the target of an elaborate scheme that would become the largest bank robbery in Brazilian history. The story begins 3 months before the robbery took place. A criminal mastermind named Josefan Antonio Alves dos Santos, also known as the German, decided, let's rob a bank. But not just any bank. Let's rob the Banco Centro. See, at the time, Banco Centro was the second largest bank in Brazil. Looking at its assets today, it sits at around $447 billion, just to give you an idea of where it sat at in 2005. Knowing this, Antonio knew that to pull off such a grand operation, he would need a dedicated crew and a foolproof strategy. Antonio recruited a group of skilled criminals, including builders, locksmiths, and even a former bank employee. Together, they gathered building materials, rented a house near the bank, all in preparation for their grand heist. The team dug a tunnel from the house that led to the bank's vault, a tunnel that would stretch over 78 meters. That thing was lined with wood and plastic. It even had its own lighting and air conditioning system. Using just basic tools and some ingenuity, they worked under the cover of night for weeks. They renovated the property, and they put up a sign indicating it was a landscaping company. Neighbors saw dirt coming out of the property, but they assumed that just because it was a landscaping property, that dirt was being used for projects rather than digging a tunnel 78 meters underneath a bank. Their meticulous planning and hard work would soon pay off. As the robbery day approached, the team set their plan in motion. On the evening of August 5th, 2005, they finished digging the tunnel, ensuring that it led directly underneath the bank's vault. But they still faced one significant obstacle: the bank's security system. In the days leading up to the heist, they had been observing the bank's security protocols. They learned when the guards changed shifts, when the vaults was being accessed, and any vulnerabilities they could exploit. When the day finally arrived, the crew knew that they had a very small window of time to execute their plan. On the morning of August 6th, as the bank opened for business, the thieves began their infiltration. They entered the bank through the tunnel and made their way to the vault. The plan was simple, yet daring. While customers and staff were occupied inside the bank with daily activities, they would access the vault from underneath and quickly gather as much cash as they could. Once they were inside the vault, they faced one final challenge: the safe itself. But thanks to the knowledge of their former bank employee, they knew how to bypass the security mechanisms and after just a few minutes, they were in. What followed next was almost surreal. The crew loaded cash into 5 separate bags, taking a staggering amount, 164 million reals, which in American value is about $46.4 million. After executing their plan, they made their escape through the same tunnel they entered in, leaving behind very little evidence. By the time the bank discovered the heist on Monday, August 8, 2005, the thieves were long gone. It took hours for authorities to piece together what had happened. I mean, the audacity of the robbery left them stunned. How could a bank, not only a bank, one of the most secure institutions, been compromised so easily? Investigators quickly got to work. They scoured the scene, examined surveillance footage, and began to track down leads. But the thieves covered their tracks remarkably well. They filled the tunnel with dirt as they left. They made it so that the tunnel wouldn't cave in as well. This attention to detail and their ability to keep quiet helped to delay the discovery of their crime. However, the law eventually caught up with Antonio and his crew. In 2006, after months of investigations, police arrested Antonio and several accomplices due to the surveillance footage and the analysis of DNA that was left at the scene. But the full extent of the robbery still remains elusive. In 2010, 11 people were convicted of robbery and money laundering, and Josephine Antonio himself was sentenced to 80 years in prison. But he was already serving a sentence of 35 years for theft, criminal conspiracy, and use of forged documents. I mean, despite the arrests, much of the stolen money was never recovered. So far, of that $46.4 million, only about $8.5 million has been recovered. The Banco Centro Heist remains a topic of fascination in Brazil and even beyond. It serves as a reminder of the lengths criminals will go for their financial gain and the vulnerabilities that can exist even when you're one of the most secure operating systems. In the aftermath of the heist, Brazil reevaluated its bank security measures, implementing new technologies and protocols to prevent similar incidents from happening in the future. But for many, the question still lingers. Could this happen again? Thank you for joining me on this episode of Cashed Out. If you enjoyed today's story, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your friends. Join us next week as we explore another gripping tale from the world of crime. Until then, stay safe and keep your eyes open.